Hello, hello everyone. Good morning and good day. Joining here from Los Altos, California. And I'm joined by a Dharma colleague and Dharma friend here in my own space here. So I'm very delighted to be here. And so this week we've been unfolding this simile of crossing the flood. Now here we are on the last day of this week, and I was savoring the kind of flavor of this teaching. And there is the sense of one step at a time, one step at a time. And so in this meditation, the week started with stepping into the flow of our lives, staying in the flow, in the current, whether or not there are waves and forces and floods. And then we learn to stabilize ourselves by not hurrying and not freezing. And yesterday we incorporated a tuning to the effects of our practice, our efforts. And sometimes we're going to overdo it, sometimes we might underdo it. And then we'll learn from observing, feeling, sensing the effect of it, and having a deep trust. There is an inner wisdom, inner compassion, inner responsiveness that is capable of onwardly leading momentum. So it can see, can hear, can sense the wholesome, can find the way. So today we will be practicing in that kind of a territory. And so please join me, maybe by starting with just taking a few long deep breaths to arrive at this moment, here and now. I'm going to ring bell to allow you to also arrive by riding with the sound of the bell. Let the sound go, settling here, settling now. We are arriving because we know the value of being present for our lives. We know the value of getting centered, collected around the sati. Sometimes I hear this phrase from teachers, mindfulness front and center. Let yourself feel the centeredness of being present. And then mindfulness all around. A kind of a pervasiveness or expansiveness. Let the presence, mindful presence get big. So all kinds of experiences that's happening here and now can be received. Sounds, silence, sensations in the body, breath. We are unhurried, not in a hurry, because the moment is here. There is no need to hurry. The next moment will come to you. We are staying, learning to stay here, now. Let the momentary mindfulness flow into a flow of mindful presence. Steadying and stabilizing in mindful awareness. Quietly feeling and sensing. Coming inside of your experience. Like a dropping below the surface level of the water. There is a whole world below the surface. We are not in a hurry. We are participating with energy, vitality, and we can feel the aliveness of the process. It may touch your heart. Tender, maybe refreshing. There is a heightened attunement to your experience. So you can feel the ease or the strain. You just know this intuitively. And right here, maybe there is some degrees of a choice to relax and soften the strain, the striving. The wholesome qualities may bubble up. Energetic joy, or sweet happiness. Peaceful, or not so peaceful. Seeing and knowing clearly feels like this. when we're not being identified by our experiences. You may feel a kind of still, flowing movement within. Ajahn Chah likes to point to still, flowing. There is a stillness and there is a movement. in this step-by-step training, practicing. May whatever degrees of goodness, benefits, support our own hearts and minds and bodies, and may it support all beings. Thank you, friends, for practicing together. As I was reflecting about this sutta that I've been sharing, Crossing the Flood, as a whole, kind of in the totality of it, the flavor of this whole sutta evokes a kind of a flavor. It's this steady, step-by-step crossing the flood. And sometimes the Buddha would describe the practice journey or practice path as a gradual training. And so it's gradual and can't be hurried. It's like unhurrying and untearing. So it's a step-by-step, alive process. And it invites us to meet the moment and respond to the moment as best as we can with wisdom and compassion. And that's no small thing. That's no small thing. And also embedded in this simile, I'm going to put things together a little bit. There's a whole sense of crossing the flood. There is a sense of direction. Can you feel that? There is a sense of direction. In other suttas, sometimes the Buddha would speak about the near shore and the far shore. And the far shore is said to be a sanctuary. And we have to cross the flood to get to the far shore. That is peaceful and sublime. And so this crossing the flood has a directional orientation. And it's with this directional orientation that we are not disoriented by the forces of greed, hatred, delusion, by the flood, by the current. And this is quite significant, because I know for me as a lay practitioner, there are lots of internal, external activities, forces in the world and internally that can be quite disorienting. It's just very confusing for us at times, what to do, how to meet it. And so we can get disoriented and distracted by various events around us. And sometimes they may even dominate. The disorientation may even kind of take us off a directional sense for a while. And I was reflecting that sometimes, for example, in meeting our relational world, sometimes your family members or friend circles, some people may be struggling. We have an intention to support and offer our help, starting off with this kind, compassionate attitude to meet the situation. And in that process, sometimes what it can move into, if we're not oriented, it can move into, oh, I really need to fix this. I really need to fix the person. If the person didn't respond the way that we expected, or they turned away from what we wanted to offer, we can slip into a fixing mind. And sometimes we can slip into being defeated if the person wasn't responding the way we wanted. And so there's a sense of, at times in our daily life, and maybe sometimes even in our meditative practices, we can get disoriented, can get confused. It's not until we recognize, oh, I'm slipping into trying to fix this person, that we can see, oh, this mind and heart needs an orientation, needs an alignment in our heart and mind, so that we're protected to move into this kind of disorientation. And I know for even in our meditative space, I think Gil mentioned this, so I feel like I'm, probably okay to say this. At times, when we dip into some deep, peaceful, pleasant, inspiring experiences, we can begin to believe, wow, those experiences is what it's about. I certainly have done that, so I have to wait for the next retreat to get to that experience. I think probably all practitioners will encounter this phenomenon. And not until we begin to question that motive or that orientation, we can begin to see, oh, the mind is leaning in a direction that's not aligned with what the Buddha is pointing to, not aligned with the Dharma orientation. That's non-clinging, non-grasping. And so this is very important for us to reflect as practitioners, maybe on an ongoing basis. What is my deepest aspirations? How do I live out these aspirations on a daily basis, in the moments of my daily life? I'm aware that in the monastic training, and there is a certain kind of reflection that happens on a daily basis. The monastics waking up in the morning pujas and maybe evening, taking refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. And so the heart and mind is aligned in that way, finding protection in that way. And we're reminded throughout the day, this is the orientation in the teachings of the Noble Eightfold Path. Sometimes the path is depicted as a wheel, and other times it's kind of a sequence, and it starts with wise view and wise intention. This wise view, wise perspective, wise orientation of our perspectives guides us the rest of the path factors unfolds from it. I like this word unfolds. It kind of, it's really unfolding, like cloth gets unfolded. And so this whole path unfolds in that way. And that this wise view of this possibility of choosing, not grasping, ending craving for ourselves and for others, that's the possibility. That's the possibility. That's the perspective guiding us. And then the wise intention allows us to feel into, in this moment, how am I going to live this out with a wholesome intention? Wholesome intention of non-harming, non-grasping, wholesome intentions of aligning with Brahma Viharas, kindness, compassion. And so this orientation can begin to guide us in some way. And even if at times it's not so clear, it's not always that we know, what the appropriate response is for specific situations. It is important for us to keep that reflection in our hearts and minds. And just that reflection may be enough for things to get clarified over time. And so again, even in helping us to clarify our directional sense, the directional orientation is not to be rushed. And I was very touched by when Gil shared that in his journey, at one time, he had spent the whole year reflecting about his intentions. So we're not in a huge rush here, but it is important for us to get a sense of direction, a sense of orientation in us. And so this wise intention and wise view and wise intention, as it becomes more and more clear, what happens is we can begin to have a sense of wise livelihood. How do we want to live? Wise speech, wise action. It doesn't mean that somehow magically we will immediately be able to just choose the right word, appropriate word. But we know with that orientation, it helps begin to create a wholesome container. So as best as we can, this began to be a training. And then in deepening this whole process, and so it's depicted as a wheel, and that through deepening our meditative and daily life practices with wise effort, wise mindfulness, wise samadhi, our wise view get more and more clear. Our wise intention get more and more clear. And so in this way, it's a gradual training. It's this wheel, keep turning, and keep turning. And guess it's where it's all happening. It's here and now. And so I'd like to end this whole sequence by reading from Dancing with Life book that I read a few quotes from in this week. So here it is. Each step on your journey is complete in itself. Thus, finding fulfillment in living your intention is not dependent on your reaching your goal. Rather, each moment you're awake, and not clinging is liberation itself. May that be a possibility for all of us and for all practitioners and for all beings. Thank you everyone for your practice and for your engagement. It's been such a delight. And I wanted to just offer to say that for the teaching colleagues, including myself and David, Laurie, Diana Clark, and Kim Allen, we'll kind of unfold this for a Sati Center day long at IMC. And those who are local like to join the flow, which we will wave in more water similes together. Love to practice with you together, and check on Sati Center website. And others, may you continue to flow with the current of your life and finding more and more freedom and ease in this. So thank you everyone, and be well.